Hi class, in this video I will be showing you how to conduct a between group ANOVA, otherwise known as a one-way ANOVA. Let's use a scenario where the Committee Against Violent Television want to count the number of violent tendencies on 3 different networks over the course of 5 days. Let's first set up the data. So, first thing first, we'll go to variable view and we'll create our dependent variable, which is the amount of violent tendencies shown on each network. So let's just name that as violent per day or violence a day. Then the scale of measurement is scale because we want to count how many violent tendencies are being shown per day. Secondly, let's create our grouping variable, otherwise known as our independent variable. This would be the network. So in order to create a grouping variable, we must assign a value such that SPSS will be able to identify which variable is associated to which group. So click on the ellipse under value, and let's keep it simple. For value 1, let's label it as network 1. For value 2, label it as network 2. And for value 3, let's label it as network 3. Because this is just a grouping variable, it is not a continuous variable. Therefore, we'll just use a nominal scale of measurement, as we are simply using this variable to group together our scores. So now let's actually set up the data. So go to data view. So we'll be using something called a stack format, where all the data will be shown under one column. And then we'll be using a grouping variable to identify which scores are identified with each group. So the first 5 scores will be 18, 32, 23, 16, and 19. So after we put in those 5 scores, we'll assign the grouping variable of network 1, which is simply 1. The next 5 scores for network 2 are 42, 71, 68, 32, and 47. Let's now group it with network 2. Lastly, last 5 scores are 32, 28, 17, 43, and 37. Oops, 37. Let's assign that to network 3. Notice how in this example, we have 3 independent variables, or 3 grouping variables. Network 1, network 2, and network 3. In the case of ANOVA, we can use it when there are only 2 independent variables. However, in that case, independent sample t-test would be preferred. A one-way ANOVA is generally preferred when we have 3 or more independent variables. Okay, let's actually do our analysis now. So we'll be using Analyze, General Linear Model, or GLM for short, and we'll be using a univariate model, such that we are only analyzing one variable, which is the amount of violent tendencies per day. So as stated earlier, our dependent variable are the amount of violent tendencies per day. And our fixed factors, otherwise known as our independent variables, are the networks. Let's drag network over here. Click OK. So we notice SPSS automatically group together our variables thanks to our grouping variable. So we'll notice that n equals 5, which showed that we correctly inputted each group together. And then our actual analysis is here, where it states test of between subjects effects. And we'll be looking at a corrected model. Notice that there is a significant level of 0.005, which is much less than the accepted area of rejection, which is 0.05. Therefore, in this case, there is a significant amount of violent tendency being shown on television per day. So therefore, if I were the Committee Against Violent Television, I can use the data as proof that these three networks are showing a significant amount of violent tendency on television per day. That's how to conduct a simple one-way ANOVA using SPSS. Thank you, and remember, stay safe.